Hello, it's Tristan here from Zebra Invest, and today I'm just outside our project on King Street here in the centre of Norwich. It's a great property that we bought. We actually bought two side by side, but at the moment we're just refurbishing this one here. And when we got it, it was a mixed-use restaurant. We had a restaurant downstairs, and then upstairs was arranged as a 3-bedroom flat. We've gone in and we've done quite a bit of work to the place since we took it on, and it had like a chimney stack that had been taken down below the ceiling but not all the way through the property, so we've managed to get quite a lot more space in the place. And then we've gone through and we're doing a full rewire to split it into 2 units, so it will eventually have 2 sets of meters. So if someone wants just to rent out and just live upstairs or in the back of the property in the HMO that we're going to have, they can just do that. Or if we've got someone who wants to just use the office or the commercial element, they can just rent that separately. So to do that, and for anyone out there who's looking to possibly buy a property like this or a mixed use property where it's going to remain like that, one of the first things you do, and I've done a video before on utilities, is you make sure you get your utility supplies split. In this one we've got something called 3-phase power, so it comes in with usually 2 or 3 different spurs of electric coming into the kind of intake, and you can see it usually with the number of isolators it's got. And that means that we can split the electric and the power in this property really easy, so then we can have 1 meter for upstairs and 1 for downstairs, and that's a massive saving. It should only cost around about £300 to be able to split them into 2. The next bit that we really need is the water supplies to be split into 2. So then that way there's 1 supply for upstairs and 1 for downstairs. So what we're doing, and I'll walk inside and I'll walk you around and show you what's going on there, but we're actually running a separate feed to upstairs so we can have 2 separate supplies in the property and quite easily change it if needs to be later on, or do it as and when we need to. And then the other bit that you need as well usually is a separate gas supply, but what we're doing downstairs is we're actually taking the gas out of it, so there won't be a gas supply to downstairs, and we'll just use the existing supply for upstairs. So shall I take you in, show you around and show you what we've been up to? I think you'd like to see it. So here you go, just at King Street. One of the bits I just wanted to point out that we've done from the very beginning or early on is you can see out here, you see that we've got this growth just out here. That's where there's been damp just coming straight down the outside of the building. It's just going to be where the gutters would have been blocked across the top. So it's a really simple and easy fix. You get so companies come out, clear the gutters for you, and by clearing the gutters you're then able to get rid of all that damp and anything else running down the outside wall. So we've got that all cleared out. We actually got both of our properties done at the same time and had our neighbours done. So the idea being that's going to stop any water kind of sitting on the outside of the building and potentially penetrating in. So let's just pop inside and I'll show you what damage it had done and hopefully what damage we're going to be able to prevent in future. So here you can kind of just see from here all that kind of plaster just flaking off the wall, and that's just where it would have had a load of damp just sitting in it and kind of getting in the way. So we've cleared all that out now, so that should all be sorted. And then down here you can see we've got a new consumer unit, and then we've got 1 consumer unit which is going to be for upstairs and 1 for down here. This consumer is going to stay for the commercial unit. And at the moment when we got the property all set up, I may have shown you this before, but we've got 4 sets of double sockets, so then if anyone wants to get in, crack on and do any work in the building, they can do that. So we've got that there, and then what we've been doing in here is, because this is currently, well, an office, it was a restaurant, but what we've got to do to be able to meet building requirements or building regs is we've got to be able to have a acoustic barrier between the 2 properties. So at the moment you can see on this ceiling we've got 1 sheet of plasterboard. It needs to have a second sheet, and any holes in it we need to fill them in. We then put another sheet into it. And then what you then do is you put in a slab of almost like rock wool, heavy duty insulation, acoustic insulation between the floors, and then you put in another 2 sets of another 2 sets of plasterboard, and then that will stop any noise travelling upstairs. And then what you can see here is we've got space for a toilet down here, and then there's still a small little kitchen area there. But the one thing you'll notice is with this stud work that's here, we've got 2 sets of stud work, but none of them actually link together or even possibly touch. And this means if you make a noise from one side and it's got the insulation between them, you won't be able to hear any noise on the other side. And both sides of that are double plasterboarded, so noise just won't travel through. Where we are in the middle of the city, it does make it a little bit hard for materials and keeping everything on site and out of the way. But we've only just had a whole load of rubbish all collected from here, and hopefully that shows. So as we come through, the idea is that we want to use this door on the side here as our front door. And I'll turn and tell you why that's interesting. So with it, we used to have the back or the upstairs of the property as 42A King Street. And the idea is, what we've done is we've got to get planning permission, or we've used permitted development rights to convert the kitchen now into a living space. So when the property previously had separate council tax, it has 2 property addresses. So we've got 42 down here and we've got 42A upstairs. So what we're going to do is using the back door as the entrance to 42A, and that's going through a courtyard that comes off the other side, just off Crown Road, just near the pub. Hopefully we'll get that all sorted. But one of the main bit was that we hadn't double checked, but we have now double checked, is in our legal pack or our title for the property, and it actually tells you the rights and the ability to pass or repass over it. So we've looked through that. We've double checked we've got the right to be able to go through that alleyway, so then any of our tenants or anyone living here can use that, and anyone in future can use it. But one of the bits is we've also had to have a chat with our neighbours and kind of try to work out and think about how can we make sure we keep noise down in future. And we're going to be using something called a minute. They're mainly used in Airbnb properties, and the idea is you can monitor any noise. And if there is any noise, it will send a text message as well. You can set up so it'll send a text message to all your tenants just to let them know, guys, would you please be quiet and keep the noise to a minimum. Hopefully that will keep tenants happy. Tenants happy and the neighbours happy as well. Let's take you around up and show you around the rest of the place. So heading up to the top floor, you can see plastering has started. In between what the plaster has done and what our decorators are going to do, they'll be able to pull it all in together, because all the rest of these walls are all smooth, and we've ended up having to we've moved the doorway over here, so then that allows for us to have an ensuite. But it's just been all rearranged up here. So we've got a main of the plaster up here. The idea with the floors, we should be able to sand them all right down and back down. So you've got some really nice oak kind of, like wooden style flooring running through. In our bathrooms, the ceilings are all plastered as well. So it just means we just need the plasterboard on the side of it. And then we've got tile board coming in. So then the whole bathroom should actually be able to go together really quite quickly and look pretty fantastic. Then you can see just how much with all the first fix, all the wiring's all gone in. We've got smoke detectors, emergency lighting and everything else going in. And we had a chat with a local fire risk assessor to come in and make sure that before we do any more work that the property will meet HMO regulations once it's all done and finished. This little bathroom hasn't really changed much, but the one thing we have done is it had this weird kind of cupboard off the back of it. So we've ended up creating a separate space. So if it's going to have, say, an ironing board or any bits that just need to be stored by the tenants, good little useful space there. Then into the front, what we've been doing here is we've got the whole thing all plastered out, plasterboarded all out. You can see the ceiling there all kind of ready to go. And that just means that all we've got is 2 walls left here to do, and I'm just about to meet a plasterer to kind of run through the rest of the works we need to get done here. We put in a whole load of insulation here, so to get this up to the modern EPC regulations, we've got 50mm of PIR insulation there. That's like Celotex kind of style stuff. But where I've got a buying group called Same Deal, we've actually managed to get all of that kind of insulation and materials really cheap, because it's the expense of it is doing the work. But as long as you get the work done now rather than trying to do it again later, it's going to be well worth it. You can see here that's all just bonding, just to kind of fill it in, make it a little easier for the next person to come skim. As we come downstairs, the idea is here we're going to have a nice little feature light over the top of it. But you get a feeling for what's been going on. And one of the bits we had here, we had a door, and that was a door that made this into kind of a flat. And because we've now got our own new separate entrance, that's all been blocked up to make it completely separate. And we've got positions here for washing machine and tumble dryer. And when we've done it as well, we made sure we put insulation into the new cavity. So it should be, again, nice and warm and perform pretty well. Here you can see it's a little bit, when everyone's going to put all their new feet in, because we've got a whole new central heating and, central heating system. So all of the plasterboards come down. So in the next, I think, 2 days, the floor is going to be put back down, and then we're going to have all new plasterboard ceiling in here, ready, so then the whole thing can just get skimmed out, so we can then get the kitchen fitted back into it. At the front, this is where I'd mentioned, and we've got really decent sized bedroom here. Again, we've done the same thing with the insulation. It's all absolutely fitted all out in there. And then you can see just behind here, there's a stud wall. And this stud wall actually takes the weight of some of the joists upstairs. But the bit that I was just about trying to say is in here, you can see this is where we took that chimney stack out. And that's where we've got our supporting stud wall. And again, everything's all ready for our smoke detectors and for our lighting all to go straight in here. So it's really is starting to shape up and come back together. One of the bits we're going to be doing soon is we've got to put in secondary glazing, because where we're in a conservation area, these windows can't be replaced unless we go through full planning permission. But if we fit secondary glazing, we can then hit the kind of the EPC standard that we need to be able to get a C on the property when it's all done. But also at the same time, we can keep the character with the playset, keep the character and keep costs down is one of the main things. And then the other bit that I haven't shown you all the way down here, because it's really dark to see, but this is our entrance hallway that runs all the way through. But that's coming together. So I'm hoping that we're now probably another 6 weeks or so of getting the place finished. And then hopefully we're going to have 6 students come move in and live in the place. Anyway, if you've got any questions about this project, just leave them in the comment section below. Hopefully you like the video and subscribe to my channel. If you are looking to invest or lend money towards a project, then please do get in touch. Cheers.